I'm back on page 8 of last week's slide deck because I thought we would review these examples for just a minute before we go on. There are a few more points I want to make following this slide, but let's review this one first. The first one, I think everybody would recognize that one spade bid is forcing. Responder's an unpassed hand, and so one spade promises at least 6 points, at least 4 spades, and is forcing for 1 round. Now then, the next one, though, is similar, but just enough different that you get a different answer if you say, is that a forcing bid? Opener still bids a club, but this time the responder bids 2 spades. There was a time when that was a strong bid. A jump shift by responder was considered strong, and it may be that some pairs still play it that way. But most of us these days play this as a very weak bid. In effect, saying, partner, I'm not strong enough to bid 1 spade, so I'm going to bid 2. That doesn't make very much sense, does it? But what it promises is a 6-card suit and 2 to 5 high card points. And it says, fold them up, partner. If you bid on whatever results is your fault. I have told you, I am very weak. I have 6 spades in my hand, and I'm not interested in anything else. Now, here's one that has a double in the middle of it. Sometimes this is confusing to people. But 1 club, double, 1 spade. Responder is still an unpassed hand, and the hands could still belong to opener and responder. So that 1 spade bid, once again, at least 6 points, at least 4 spades. It tends to deny having 10 high card points. Many times, if responder has 10 high card points, he'll redouble, but not always. Redoubling doesn't take up any of the bidding space, and if you're not careful, once the advancer bids and maybe your partner bids again, if you have 10 points, you may find yourself at a level where showing a 4-card spade suit is not permissible. So in many instances, it is better to go ahead and bid a 4-card major here, even if you have 10 points. So a response at the 1 level following a double is forcing for 1 round. But notice in the following example, a response at the 2 level is not. Most pairs, by agreement, say that if you had enough to bid at the 2 level, to respond at the 2 level, remember, 2/1 game force is not in effect here because there's been interference. So a responder holding fewer than 10 high card points can now bid 2 clubs, saying, I have a weak hand with usually 6 cards in my suit, because if I had 10 or more points, I would redouble. I wouldn't bid at the 2 level because normally that would show 10 or more points, but I have another way to show 10 or more points here. So if your partner bids at the 2 level following a takeout double, that could be forcing if that's the way you and your partner want to play it, but most pairs play that it is not forcing. Next hand, opener bids 1 spade, and your pesky opponent preempts in diamonds. 3 diamonds. This could be 7 diamonds, but these days it's very likely to be only 6. Because 2 diamonds is not preemptive over 1 spade. So if he has a preemptive hand with diamonds, he has to bid 3 diamonds. Now responder bids 3 hearts. Once again, responder is an unpassed hand. He has bid a new suit. So this is a 1-round force. When partner opens one of a major and responder bids 1 no trump, unless you play the forcing 1 no trump as part of the 2/1 game force, that bid is not forcing because it's not a suit bid. Remember, the definition of a forcing bid is a new suit by a responder who has not previously passed. Same thing applies here. 1 diamond, 4 clubs, 4 hearts. That's a new suit, but it's at the game level. There is no requirement to bid above the game level. So 4 hearts is not forcing. If you happen to think that there might be a slam, I mean, partner's got to have a game going hand at least, and has to have a number of hearts here as well. So that doesn't mean that you wouldn't necessarily go on, because 4 clubs is preemptive. You may still have a slam and you can certainly bid on, but 4 hearts is not forcing. The next one starts 2 passes, 1 club by the opener. 4th seat passes, and now the opening bidder bids 1 heart. This is a new suit, but responder is a passed hand. So his bid is not forcing. If your partner opens 1 of a major suit, your right-hand opponent bids 2 clubs, and then you bid 3 clubs. That is not showing a club suit. It is asking for a club stopper only by agreement. What this generally shows is limit raise or better values in hearts. This leaves the 3 heart bid available to be preemptive with 4 card support. But this is a Q bid raise showing invitational or better values and at least 3 card heart support. It is a strange bid. Q bids are strange bids, so it is definitely forcing for 1 round. Here's one that causes people a lot of confusion. Partner opens 3 diamonds, the next person passes, and you bid 3 hearts. I can't tell you how many times I have seen the opening bidder pass a bid like this. The responder sitting there with a monster hand, and he thinks there might possibly be at least game and maybe more. But if the opener passes, what's he going to do? Remember, responder has to have a way to force. He should never bid a new suit following a 3-level preempt or even a 2-level preempt in an attempt to rescue his partner. If you have an average hand with 2 card support or even only 1 card in the suit, resist the urge to rescue your partner, because when you bid a new suit, it is forcing for 1 round and your partner has already said he has fewer than 10 points. So you only bid a new suit when you don't have support, or you have a suit that you think is as good or better than his is, and you have a really nice hand. You're asking him, hey, can you support my hearts? Because if you can, I'd like to play 4 hearts rather than 5 diamonds. When your partner has preempted and as an opening bidder and you bid a new suit, unless partner's preempt was at the game level, like if he opens 4 spades, for instance, then a new suit by you is forcing, because responder has to have a way to force. Next example, 1 diamond past 2 diamonds. This is forcing only if you play inverted minor raises. Otherwise, it is not forcing because it's not a new suit. Likewise, 1 heart past 3 hearts is invitational only, promising 10 to 12 points with 4 card heart support. Partner can pass because it's the same suit. If he opened an 11-point dog over there, he will probably pass. But if he has something approaching 14 points, he should accept. And with some 13-point hands, he should accept. But the 3 heart call is not forcing. If you have a hand that wants to play game, you need to bid another suit first before you raise hearts, unless you're prepared just to bid 4 hearts. But remember, that shows the weak freak. 1 heart, 4 hearts says, I have 5 card support and no more than 7 or 8 points in my hand, partner. This is a law of total tricks bid, an attempt to keep the opponents out of the auction. And as I said, all strange bids are forcing. For goodness sake, don't pass your partner when you don't know what his bid means. Just make your most natural bid, and hopefully partner will clarify it a little bit later. Now, here's some more presumptions that are considered to be more or less standard, and I say that with quotes around it, because not absolutely 100% of players abide by these presumptions, but they're things that bear discussing between you and your partner. So, bidding after a week 2 opener. A new suit below the game level by responder is forcing. This falls under the heading of the RONF that you see on many people's convention cards in the week 2 section. It stands for raise is the only non-forcing bid. If you play that it is non-forcing, it must be alerted because it is not standard. I think that you will see that that is in red on your convention card there, the box where it says new suit non-forcing, it will be in red. That means it must be alerted. 2 no trump by the responder is forcing because it is either the feature ask or August. If you and your partner do not play either of those conventions, you really should consider learning the feature ask at least. It's a very handy thing to know when your partner shows a week 2 opener and you have basically a 1 no trump opener. If he has an outside entry to his long suit, then you'd like to play 3 no trump most of the time, particularly when he bid a minor. So 2 no trump is a very handy bid to know, and if you play that it's the feature ask, then it is forcing. 2 no trump should be alerted if it is not forcing, because that's not standard. Responder's raise is to play. When you open with a week 2 and your partner raises 1 level, or maybe even raises to game, if he raises 1 level, that is not invitational. He is merely extending the preempt, saying, you have 6 of them, I have 3 of them, partner. We have 9 trump between us. Let's bid to the 9 trick level. And as I said before in my little tale I told, the week 2 opener is not expected to bid again unless his partner forces him to. That's because that opening week 2 tells your whole story, and you never want to tell your story twice. That's not a good habit to be in. When you have told your whole story in 1 bid like this, your partner is the captain, because he knows what you have and he knows what he has. He is the one who will decide whether or not to take the save. If your opponent doubles a week 2, that's normally indicating a takeout double. But if the advancer has length and or strength in the week 2 suit opposite an opening hand or better by the doubler, then doubles can be left in for penalty. If your partner converts your takeout penalty to, or takeout double to penalty, you're expected to lead a trump. Here's another one that's sometimes misunderstood. Don't preempt over a preempt. If your right-hand opponent opens 2 diamonds and you have a week 2 in spades, don't bid 2 spades. If you overcall following an opening preempt, it should show a good suit with enough points to compete at whatever level you bid. Partner will, if you preempt over a preempt, partner will never know whether you have a preemptive hand or a good hand. I know you want to bid 2 spades. I understand. I often want to do that myself because I love it when I have the spades. and particularly when I have 6 of them. But resist the urge to preempt over a preempt. If you and your partner have not discussed this, you should. Otherwise, he'll never know what you have. If you agree, hey, I will have enough points to compete at the level where I bid, and I'll have a good suit here as well. Now, bidding after higher level preempts is very, very similar to the bidding following a week 2, with the one difference being that doubles are more penalty oriented, and takeout doubles are more likely to be left in, particularly when they're at the 4 level, because that typically shows about 8 cards in the suit, could be 7. And with a preemptive bid, say of 4 hearts or 4 spades, you're not expecting to make. Your only goal is to make life as difficult as possible for the opponents. Generally, you will have fewer than 10 points. If you have 11 points in a 6-card suit or an 8-card suit or whatever, open at the 1 level. The hand has more playing strength than what a 4-spade bid would indicate. Here are some examples. The important thing to remember is if one of the partners has bid any number of no trump, then he or she has limited the hand. New suits bid by the other partner are not forcing except by partnership agreement. One classic example of this situation is new minor forcing. You have to say that the new minor is forcing because it follows a bid or a rebid of 1 no trump by the opener. That bid limits his hand. So you have to have the agreement that the new minor is forcing for 1 round. Here's an example. 1 spade, 1 no trump, whether it's forcing or not. Opener rebids 2 diamonds, saying, I have an unbalanced hand here, partner. What do you think? 3 clubs by the responder shows 6 to 10 points and 6 clubs. This is not a forcing bid because he bid 1 no trump initially, limiting his hand. This says, I was really hoping you'd rebid clubs, but you didn't. So now I have to bid clubs here. I know you probably don't have more than a couple of them, but I have at least 6. Otherwise, I would choose between your 2 suits. I do not have support for either one of your suits, but I have a 6-card suit over here, and I'm hoping that you have at least 2 of them. This is not a forcing bid because he initially bid 1 no trump. Same thing here. If the opener rebid no trump, then a new suit bid by the responder is just an escape, unless you play new minor forcing. If you don't play new minor forcing, then this kind of auction, 1 diamond, 1 heart, 1 no trump, 2 clubs, shows an unbalanced hand with at least 4 clubs in it. If you want to force the bidding, in other words, if you don't want partner to pass 2 clubs, then you have to jump a level to avoid losing the auction. A jump shift by the responder is generally indicative of the fact that he wants to play games somewhere, but doesn't think that no trump is the best place. And here I mentioned new minor forcing or check back stamen enables the responder to force without having to jump a level. That's basically what it does. In other words, you can get out in 2 of the major suit. In this case, 2 hearts. If partner has a minimum hand at only 3 card support and you're sitting there with only 10 points, that enables you to get out at 2 hearts. Otherwise, if you don't play new minor forcing, you're going to be at the 3 level at least. Now, here's an exception to the no trump rule. You knew there was an exception, I hope. There's always an exception, or so it seems. If the opener jumps in no trump, if the responder bids a new suit, it's forcing, because with a weak hand, he passes to no trump. Remember, two no trump is forward going, but never forcing unless it's conventional. And by that, it may be Jacoby two no trump. It may be the two no trump feature ask following a weak two opening. When it's conventional, it is forcing. But if the opener jump rebids in no trump, if the responder bids a new suit over that two no trump, that bid is forcing. For instance, one diamond, pass one spade, pass two no trump, three hearts. That's the way the responder shows, five spades and four hearts at least. He may have five hearts, we don't know yet. It is a one round force, even though the opener bid no trump on his rebid. Once you go past two no trump into that three level, the rules change a little bit, because two no trump can be passed when responder has a weak hand. Now, in addition to a strong jump shift by the opener, a reverse by either the opener or the responder is a one round force. Here's an example of the strong jump shift. One heart, one spade, three clubs. Three clubs is one level higher than necessary. This shows a 19 to 21 point total point hand, unbalanced, and is generally considered game forcing by most pairs because the responder has promised at least 6 points. That means there should be a minimum of 25 points between the two hands. That's the reason for saying that's a game force. Here's another example. It's the famous one diamond, one spade, two heart bid. Opener has reversed the hand. By that, I mean he bid the lower ranking suit first. Normally, we bid our higher ranking suit first, but in this case, he doesn't have five hearts. I guarantee he'd have opened one heart if he had. He opened a diamond. And of course, when you're sitting there holding five diamonds and four hearts, your partner always bids spades. Then, if you don't have the values to reverse the hand, your rebid is one no trump, whether you wanted it to be or not, assuming you don't have four spades, of course. But this shows longer diamonds than hearts. It shows 9 cards at the very least in the red suits, in other words, and it is a one round force because it requires a minimum of 17 high card points to reverse the hand. The reason for that is for responder to take a preference to the first bid suit, he must bid at the 3 level. Since he promised you only 6 points with that one spade response, and you need about 23 points between you to be successful at the 3 level, the opener needs to have about 17. And it is a one round force, not a game force. Opener could have only 6 points and there wouldn't be enough for game. But the opener has reversed the hand that creates a one round force. This next example is an example of a reverse by the responder. One diamond, one heart, one no trump, denying 4 spades, right? Denying 4 hearts or 4 spades. Responder bid 2 spades. This typically shows 5 hearts and 4 spades. It's forcing for one round. Now that opener knows that the responder has 5 hearts, he may be able to give his partner the good news that they have an 8-card heart fit. Otherwise, they're probably going to end up in some number of no trump. Now then, if for those of you who play the 2/1 game forcing system, a responder, if you don't, let's say, if you don't play 2/1, but you respond at the 2 level, promising at least 10 high card points, that's forcing to at least 2 no trump. If you bid at the 2 level on 7 or 8 points, thinking, oh, well, I'll just pass my partner's next bid, you're not building trust with your partner at all. Because a response at the 2 level promises 10 high card points and should be forcing to at least 2 no trump. You owe your partner another call when you have responded at the 2 level. 1 spade past 2 clubs. If you don't play 2/1, you promise your partner another bid after that 2 club bid. Always, always, always. If you have enough to bid at the 2 level for your initial response and you're not playing 2/1, there's still a reasonable chance. Say, for instance, you have 11 or 12. You have 11. Let's say you have 11 high card points. If your partner has 14, you can have a game. So you don't want to pass after having bid at the 2 level. You want to bid again. Here's an example. 1 spade, pass, 2 diamonds, pass, 2 hearts. This particular bidding pattern shows at least 5 spades and 4 hearts. It may be 6 spades and 5 hearts. We don't know yet. Could be 5 spades and 5 hearts. But it is forcing to at least 2 no trump because the responder bid at the 2 level. The responder bid at the 2 level on his initial response, promising 10 or more points. Now then, 1 heart, pass, 2 clubs, pass, 2 diamonds, pass, 2 hearts. This shows heart support, and it is forcing since the level is still below 2 no trump.
Susan,
Yes.
Ella has a question as well as Janet.
Okay, go right ahead, Ella.
Thanks. On number 3, the responder reversed the hand.
Yes.
Forcing. How many points does the responder need to reverse?
Well, he needs an opening hand at least.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And you said Janet had a question?
Well, that was my question too.
Okay.
So would 12 high card points still do
Yes,
as?
yeah, I think that would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question also. Thank you.
Okay. Good. Well, I need to put it down that I need to add a note in here then. Okay, let's see. Now, 2 hearts may look like this. Well, partner G, I'm sorry. I have a minimum hand and now I'm supporting your hearts. No, you don't have a minimum responding hand. You bid 2 clubs. That shows more than the 6 to 9 points. Remember, we talked about the point ranges for minimum, invitational, and maximum hands for both the opener and the responder. 2 clubs here shows at least an invitational hand, and it may be a game forcing hand. Opener should not pass 2 hearts here. This bid is forcing to at least 2 no trump. If you play the 2/1 system, it's forcing to 4 hearts once you've shown support here. Okay, here's some examples, some more examples. 1 diamond by opener, and this is his hand over here. That's a pretty quacky hand, but this person opened it. South rebids 1 spade, West passes, and now North has to rebid. Notice this is an 11 high card point hand. It doesn't have 4 spades. It doesn't have any kind of a rebiddable suit. It has no sure tricks in it right off the top. If I look at that hand, I think, where in the world are my tricks? I think I can see 1 possible diamond trick, and that's about it. If at this point you are tempted to pass one spade, you should never have opened this hand. Because one of the things you have to think about when you open is, what will my rebid be if my partner bids 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, da 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 da? What will I do if? So if you're not comfortable here bidding 1 no trump with this hand, and I would not be, I mean, to my mind, this hand, I won't call it trash because there are 2 kings in it, but I just don't see very many tricks here. And my partner has promised me only 6 points and 4 spades. I don't want to raise spades without a roughing value. Here, if I raise with 3 card support, my shape needs to be 5, 4, 3, 1. And my honors are, I mean, my spade suit's good. I have honor 3rd. And that's what the minimum that I would want to have. But I want to have a roughing value. And by that, I want a singleton in my hand if I raise my partner's major suit response with only 3 card support. Here's another example. North opens 1 club, and your partner responds 1 no trump. That's about the time that I say, well, rats, I have 2 4-card major suits, and guess what? My partner doesn't have 4 cards in either major. Now, depending on your ranges for a 1 no trump response, if partner has 10 points, they're probably 10 crappy points. With 10 good points, he would bid 2 no trump. Since your partner has limited his hand and denied a 4-card major, you're not missing a game here. If you invite by bidding 2 no trump, you may find yourself going down a trick when your partner produces 5 high card points and a doubleton somewhere. This is known to happen. I am particularly guilty of that sometimes. I tend to want to bid, and if I can come up with 6 points as the responder, I generally will. So you're not missing a game here. Your partner's limited his hand, so your best bid here is pass. Now then, following a 1-level response, how does the opener normally rebid? Well, North is a passed hand here, and we're looking at the South hand. It goes pass, pass, and South opens a spade. Notice he has a nice hand. That has 15 points in it, but I didn't open a no trump because of the small singleton in clubs. Since the opponents have not bid, you know, when you need your opponents to bid, they never cooperate. You'd like to have a Q bid sometimes. The only way that North can force, even if you play the 2-over-1 game forcing system, 1 no trump by a passed hand is not forcing. Some pairs play that it's semi-forcing. Some pairs play that it is still forcing, and others say it's not forcing at all. So this is up to you and your partner. The 1 no trump responder, if you play 2-over-1, could have as many as 11 high card points in it. The thing is here, South has a very good hand. He has more than a minimum. I would rebid 2 diamonds here, asking my partner to take a preference at the very least. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but if you play 2-over-1, you play a lot of 5-2 fits in the major suits. And it may be that that's where you end up here. It tends to work out all right most of the time. But if I'm holding this hand and my partner has bid 1 no trump, and I have a singleton and a side suit, I'm going to show my shape. And plus the fact that I have a better than minimum opening hand. The 1 no trump is not forcing at all, but this hand that I hold as South is worth another call. If partner doesn't, if partner can, I mean, he can either say, okay, we'll play diamonds by passing 2 diamonds, or he'll take a preference back to spades, one of the two. Now, South's bid here, when it go on this next example, 1 club, pass by East, South 1 spade. West passes also, and now North says 2 clubs. I don't have 4 spades, partner. I have a minimum hand, and I have 6 clubs in it. East passes, South bids 2 spades. Now then, if South had a really good hand, he would need to bid a new suit to force. This bid shows a minimum responding hand with 6 spades in it. Remember, when you rebid a suit, in almost every situation there is in bridge, you're showing 6 cards in it. If your back is against the wall and you have no clubs at all in your hand, you could rebid a 5-card spade suit, or if you have a 4-card suit, you could rebid it to deny club support. But if you have a weak hand with a couple of clubs in it, you just pass 2 clubs. But when you have 6 spades in your hand and you have enough points to bid at the 1 level, remember earlier I showed you an example that was 1 club past 2 spades. That shows 2 to 5 points. This hand has more than 5 points in it. It has 6 or more in it, but it doesn't have as many as 10. Otherwise, the bid would have been 3 spades. Not forcing, but highly invitational. In this case, the 2 spade bid is considered a drop dead bid. Fold them up, partner. Fold them up. We need to play it here. My hand is only worth something if we play it in spades. Here's that same hand I was just talking about. 1 club, pass, 1 spade, pass, 2 clubs, pass, 3 spades. This is not forcing, but it's highly invitational to game. Saying, partner, if you just have a couple of spades, and if you have, say, 14 points or 13 and a good excuse, like a 6-card club suit that hopefully I could use, then please bid 4. If you don't have any spades, or you, you only have 1, well, think of your next best bid. Now then, here's a slightly different auction, but the meanings change entirely. North opens 1 club, South bids a spade, North bids 3 clubs, and now South bids 3 spades. In this case, 3 spades is forcing because he bid following a jump rebid by the opener. Any bid by the responder after the opener jumps, that should say is forcing to game. Any bid after the opener jumps by the responder is forcing to game. So that means only not to avoid after 3 clubs, bid of the same suit. This guy's showing an average of what, 16, 17 points, 16 to 18 anywhere with 6 clubs in it. That's the total value of the hand. South needs to be strong enough to create a force here if he rebids his spade suit. If he's not, you just have to pass 3 clubs. Even if you have 6 spades. Sometimes you have the right suit, but you don't have the money to buy the level where you need to bid. That means you have to pass. Aha, we're at the end now. Does anybody have any questions about any of these forcing bids here that I was showing you and giving you an example about before we go on to 4th suit forcing?
Susan, Gail
Yes.
Long asked, does that jump show at least 16 high card points?
It shows, no, the jump shows a total hand evaluation of 16 to 18 points. It may only be 14 high card points. This is a total hand evaluation count, not just high card points, because after all, the 16 high card points and 6 clubs, I'm probably going to open one no trump if my hand meets the definition otherwise. But with 14 high card points and a 6 card club suit, I'm considering that to be an invitational level hand. If I had, let's say I had 16 or 17 high card points and a 6 card suit, that hand now values to 18 or 19. That's a heavy 3 club bid. And really 3 clubs doesn't do the hand justice. Does that make sense to you, Gail?
Yes, yes, it does. Thanks.
You bet. You bet. Does anybody else have a question?
Yes.
Was that a yes?
Yes, when you said that it was you had reevaluated the hand, the club hand,
Mm-hmm.
that's based on if clubs are the trump.
Yes, of course. Plus, if I'm short in spades, I'm not counting shortness points as the opener. But if I'm short in spades, and by that I mean a singleton, I may back off a little bit. Maybe I have a hand worth 18 points, but when I have a singleton in my partner's suit, that's not so great. All of a sudden, I might call it only 16 or 17 because the hand is beginning to look like a possible misfit. But on the other hand, if I have 3 spades in my hand, I'm going to say, okay, well, possibilities. Maybe partner has more than 4 of them, but I'm going to show him my invitational level hand here. Once again, when South bids 3 spades, this is now a game force and it promises 6 spades in his hand. That means North can bid 4 spades with only 2 spades in his hand. So with both hands being invitational, 4 spades should be easily doable. Just based on generalities. You know, there are always cases where, well, the points are there, but it just doesn't work. That's always a possibility. But when the points are there and it looks good, you want to be there because everybody else in the room is going to be there. So, anybody else have a question?
If you were to bid 3 no trump as the opener after the 3 spade bid, you would have to promise stoppers in the other 2 suits.
Yes, yes. It promises no fit for spades. But South has an invitational hand. He should have values in some of the side suits, and North should as well because he has an invitational level hand. A 3 no trump bid by North just says, I don't have 2 spades, partner. So let's try no trump here. Good point, Deborah. Thank you.
Susan, Beth has her hand raised.
All righty.
When you were talking about reverses a while ago, do you have to have more cards in the first suit that you bid than the second suit?
Yes. That's always characteristic of a hand that reverses. If you have a balanced hand, then it's probably a no trump opener because it's in that point range. Or it might even be a 2 no trump opener. You can reverse with 19 or 20 points in a really unbalanced hand. Doesn't have to be 5-4. It can be 6-4, it can be 6-5, any of those kinds of things. But one of the characteristics of a hand that reverses is more cards in the first bid suit than in the second bid suit.
Okay.
Now, if you're 4-4-4-1, that's a whole different animal. Those hands are really difficult to bid. All kinds of conventions have been dreamed up to deal with those. none of them are very satisfactory if you want my honest to God opinion.
Okay.
But you can have a look at them and decide for yourself if you want to.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Anybody else have a question?
I have a note on page 13 when North's hand opened the bidding with a diamond with 11 points. And do a lot of higher up players with that kind of hand
Which I'm sorry, what page is
open
it?
with 11 points?
Yes, you will find all precision players open all 11-point hands. I have
Wow.
one partner that opens all 11-point hands. I open the right 11-point hands. That means that there are some of them, if they don't have any tricks in them, I tend to let them go. But if I have 11 points to say ace, king in one suit and ace in another, that's 3 quick tricks. That is an opening hand in my book any day. And if I have a rebid, so much the better. So that's only 11 points, but it's a prime 11, and I'm never passing that hand.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Hi, this is Susan. Thanks for watching this video today. Most of these videos come from our free bridge lessons that we present on Zoom every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. If you'd like to join us for those lessons, you can email us at the address shown below and we'll send you the link. If you can't attend the lessons, then feel free to subscribe to our channel and you'll be notified when there is a new one added. Again, thanks for stopping by and we hope to see you soon.